Hi guys, Matt from Total Drummer. Here we're looking at drum fill generators. So often we learn a specific fill. And we do that, there's loads of that on Total Drummer, and I'll put a link in the video description that will take you to a drum fill. So if you want to learn a really cool fill that you can kind of just learn it note for note as it is, throw it in, show off to people, whatever, there's a link below here, you can go and do that. And that's kind of cool and that's fun, but often we're quite limited. So we've learned it at maybe a specific tempo, in a particular time signature, and we know that and we can play it, but we can't really take it anywhere else. So that's fine if we're playing that tempo song in that time signature, but we can't adapt it, we can't be free with it. So although I think there is value in it and it's a lot of fun, I think it's even more valuable to learn a system by which you can create hundreds of fills. So that's what we're going to look at here. Alright, so click the link below and you can go and grab this sheet music. There's a bit of it, so it's definitely worth having that. It's going to help you learn a lot quicker. So what we're going to do is look at some building blocks of rhythm, and we're going to use those. There's going to be 6 of those, and we're going to use those then to create larger phrases. So I always just think it's easy to think of this as a language, so the language of drumming, and these little rhythmic building blocks are your words. And once we learn the words, we can mix them up to create lots and lots of different sentences. So if you think about me talking now, I'm not having to think about each word. I haven't just learned a sentence. Like if you're learning a foreign language, you might learn a phrase and you just know that phrase. You can't go anywhere else with those words. You just know, gotta have a beer please, and that gets you through a whole day. You can't go beyond that. So we're going to learn all these words, and we're going to have that ability to mix them up. So like I'm talking now, I'm very free. I'm not having to think about which words I'm constructing a sentence with. It just flows. I know the statement I want to make, and the words just happen. We're going to do that on the drums. So let's start by looking at number 1. Okay, so here we are on sheet 1, and we've got these 6 different rhythm blocks. So number 1, and by the way, this is all just on a snare now, or you could just clap it, or play it on a practice pad. So this is just about getting your head around the rhythm. All right, so number 1 is literally just 2 8th notes. It's very easy, and we're just going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So number 2 is also easy. In fact, this is all easy. The whole idea here is anybody can do this. So we're just building it up from very easy rhythm blocks. And number 2 is 4 16th notes, last for a quarter of a beat each, and they go 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Okay, number 3 is 2 16ths, then an 8th. So we've got 2 quicker notes, then the longer notes. So we go 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, leaving that space for the A. 1 E and, 2 E and A, 3 E and, 4 E and. Number 4 is the 8th note. We've kind of spun number 3 around. So it's the 8th note, then the 16th. So the long note first, then the shorter notes. 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Right, and then number 5, it's the 16th, an 8th, then a 16th. So the longer notes on the E. So we miss the and. So it goes 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. If I just play it quickly so you can kind of hear it. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E. Okay, and then the final one, just to mix it up a bit, we've got triplets. So 3 8th note triplets, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay, so those are our 6 rhythmic building blocks. Now what we're going to do is use those, jumble them up, put them together in different order, and we're going to create fills. I'm going to give you a few fills. I'm going to give you 4 fills. Okay, 4 set fills. just so you kind of understand the process. But the real thing here is that you can take it away and make hundreds of your own. Okay. Now, one thing to note on this first page is each example is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to use each of those blocks, and we'll have those numbers on the next page. Let's check it out. All right. So looking at page 2 here, it says put those rhythm blocks together to create a fill. So we're going to do, as I say, 4 very easy fills, just so you understand the process. And if we look at example 1, you can see that it's got the numbers above it, 1, 2, 1, 2. So from that first sheet, it's building block 1, then 2, then 1 again, then 2 again. From a notation point of view, it's 2/8 notes, 4/16, 2/8, 4/16. So we count it as 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. That's it. We're just playing it on the snare for now. Have a listen. Okay, cool. So once you're happy with that fill, it's not a difficult fill, try playing a sequence. You've got 1 bar of 8 beat, then the fill, then back into another bar, another 8 beat. So you've got the groove to the fill, back to the groove, then you've got a full sequence, and it's a fill that you can use. Let's check out number 2 though. So here we've got building blocks number 3, which we play twice, then back to number 2, then to number 1. So the way we're going to count that is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and a 4 and. Okay, number 3. So building blocks, that's the 5th building block, then the 1st, the 2nd, then the 3rd. So we're mixing up a bit more. Rhythmically, a little bit harder now. So we're going to go 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and. Last one, number 4, building block 1, then 6. So we're bringing the triplet in, then 2, then 3. So the count, 1 and 2 triplet, 3 E and a 4 E and. Okay, so you've got all 4 of those variations on the snare drum and looping them with a beat. So now, without even changing to a new rhythm, we already have lots of different possibilities. So, because we're just on the snare at the minute, we're on one sound source. But we have, if you take a standard 5-piece kit, snare, 3 toms, bass drum, then you've got the hi-hat and the cymbals. So we've already got quite a lot of sounds on a standard setup. So you could just stick within these rhythms, the 4 examples, move it around the kit in different ways, and create lots of different variations of those fills. And we're gonna just explore that a little bit here. So on page 3, it says once you're comfortable with those fills, we can orchestrate them in many ways to create variations of the same fill. So we're gonna look at one orchestration of each of the fills. So this top one here is number 1 from the previous page. So the count was 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. And we're going to put that on the snare, then the high tom, then the snare, then the floor tom. Have a listen. Alright, so second one down, the rhythm was 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, a 4 and. So we're going to go snare, high tom, snare, high tom, snare, high tom, floor tom. And then third one down, the rhythm, to remind you, 1 E, a 2 and, 3 E and, a 4 E and. And it's going here, snare, high tom, snare, high tom, snare, snare, middle tom, floor tom. And lastly, last example there, 1 and 2 triplet, 3 and a 4 and. So we're going snare, high tom, snare for the triplets, high tom, mid tom, mid tom, and 3 notes on the floor tom at the end. Right guys, so 4 variations using those rhythm blocks, right? And you can see how easy it is. Once you're comfortable with each of the 6 rhythm blocks, you can just mix them up, put them in any order. Where we get to eventually with this is that you don't need to write it down, you don't need to plan it, you don't need to think about it. You get to the feel and you just go. It just falls out of your hands. You're free to just express yourself. That's when it's at its most fun, most interesting. But to get there, it's nice to have a little system to kind of build the confidence. Just be safe in the knowledge that you're playing it for the right length of time. So in this case, 1 bar. And then you just understand what you're doing. And through that process, things will start to filter out. You'll find stuff that works well, so you'll keep that. You'll find things that don't work so well, so you'll get rid of those. And gradually you get to the point where you can just play awesome fills every time. Now the 4th page on this is just really a blank page. So there's 2 ways you can do this. Once you're comfortable, you can do what I just said, which is make it up. But for now, you might want to write your own out. So, you can just check out that first page, get those different building blocks. This can be so random, right? So you just get those building blocks and just draw them in. Don't even think about it, draw them in. And then you've got to work out, right, now I've drawn it in, how do I play it? So, you've got a bunch of different notes there. You then have to figure out the rhythm. Once you've done that, then you can go, okay, so what if I move the 2nd note onto the high tom or down on the floor tom? What if I put a bass drum in instead of the snare drum? So you can start to get super creative, mix stuff up, be totally random with it at first, because as I say, after a while you'll just figure out what works and what doesn't work. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe if you did. There's loads more coming. As I say, links below this video to A, go and grab the sheet music. It's completely free. That's definitely going to help you. B, there's a link to a drum fill if you want to learn a set fill as well. But I would definitely say don't ignore this, because as a drummer, you need to be at the point where you're free to create and improvise and express yourself. You don't want to only learn set fills, because then you're trapped. All right? Have fun with these. I'll see you in the next lesson.